I'm Renee Noor, model, creative director, founder of Global Women Wealth Warriors, Wellness Hub, and GW3 Magazine. I dedicated my life and devoted my career into helping women and girls to achieving their goals. I've been passionate about empowering women and enriching men. This opportunity in working with the Global Women Wealth Warriors have afforded me the pleasure of traveling outside of the country to be a support unit, most importantly, to help impact and change lives. Our ultimate purpose is to help others to become whole from finance, spiritual, mental, as well as physical. We know there are challenges and obstacles to get you to the next level. However, it's time for you to level up, boss up, and welcome to Power to Soar.
Well, I want to say hello. I am Pastor Jeff, and on behalf of Renee Noor, we want to say welcome to you, yes, and especially you to Voices, the talk show, where we bring the conversations from the clubhouse to your house. Renee Noor is the founder and the creator of the GW3 Global Club and the Global Women Wealth Warriors Club on Clubhouse. Our members are passionate about positively impacting the lives of women and girls while also enriching men to reach an abundance lifestyle. A lifestyle gained through financial literacy, learning new currency, and maintaining healthy eating for wellness. Renee is a global keynote speaker, an award-winning international Ebony Fashion Fair model, a marathon runner, an award-winning golfer, along with too many other awards and accomplishments for me to mention in the time of this show. Now go ahead and put your hands together, clap those mics on Clubhouse for the beautiful one, for the legend, the intelligent mentor, the champion, just to name a few, the woman, the legend herself, none other than Renee Noor.
I just love that. Oh my goodness, Pastor Jeff. You know, you always seem to make me feel like a 15-year-old. Thank you so very much.
Absolutely, Renee. I love it that you feel like a 15-year-old. That means you're staying young in mind, and you know what they say, this don't crack. So
you know it.
It's been a wonderful week, Renee. We've got a wonderful show in store for all of our viewers and our listeners. And so why don't you tell us, Renee, how has your week been?
Oh my goodness. It's been like nonstop, Pastor Jeff, nonstop. You know, right now, currently, I am in Shreveport, Louisiana, spending time with my beautiful Miss Jazzy. You know, I haven't seen her in almost 4 months. It's been so long, and I'm so grateful to be able to spend quality time with her. Last weekend, you know, seemed like I was out of town again. We were in Las Vegas alongside with Mr. C-Rock, as well as Mr. Nate, and even Credit Ninja. We've just been nonstop with moving. Like you already know, Pastor Jeff, I say what? Keep your bags packed, because GW3 is ready to go.
Absolutely. And so understand that out in Vegas, you were rocking it, I hear, at the Risk On. And so let us know, what were some of the highlights? I know you were able to meet some of the BW3 community live and in person. You already mentioned a few of them. Also, you were able to, our GW3 community was there. So why don't you share with the audience just what it was like, who you got to meet, and then tell us where you're going next. You know, you're like Carmen Sandiego. It used to be that game, where in the world is Carmen? And we just want to know, where in the world are you going next? But first of all, tell us about Vegas.
Absolutely. You know, Vegas was one of those trips. We didn't have it planned on the GW3 schedule, Jeff. This was something that came about thanks to Mr. C-Rock himself. I had the opportunity of meeting C-Rock right there with Breakfast with Champions in New York City. We actually shared a taxi cab to Central Park where we all ran together with not only Glenn Lundy alongside with Mr. Brian Benstock. Oh my goodness. And even TM, we were all running in the park. You know, that was just one of the ways that we loosened up. But C-Rock, my goodness, he rocked out for sure. He was one of the keynote speakers. And with the man himself, Mr. Todd Alt, that was his event. Meh, whew, he rolled out the red carpet for us, Jeff. Todd Alt is definitely one of those billionaires you want to know. But what I loved about Todd, he was so humble, had the opportunity of meeting his beautiful wife. In addition to that, Damon John had a nice way of being able to reconnect with Damon John. And I would say just a plethora of other amazing speakers. One of the ones that truly stood out, well, it was about 3 or 4 of them that stood out. Every last one of the speakers were phenomenal. Natalie was one of the girls that just rocked out in the Bitcoin space. Nicole Arbor, oh my goodness, love Nicole. Met her for the 10X ladies right there in Miami when we all got together for the 10X ladies with Elena Cardone. And then the man himself, Mr. Greg Reed. Not only is Greg Reed, he had so much energy. He even reminded me a little bit of our Raymond, right, with Breakfast with Champion. He had so much energy, Jeff. Oh my
It's like the
goodness.
Energizer Bunny.
What?
Just keeps going and going.
Yes. He kept going and going. He had like about 36 books that he was just giving away. And not only was he giving away, it was just a wonderful way of how he actually displayed them. These are all books that he either authored or co-authored. One of the books he gave away, he co-authored it with Sharon Letcher, the lady that we truly love because she loved what? She always say assets are sexy. Absolutely. Yes. So Greg Reed co-authored 3 Feet from Gold. And that was one of the books yours truly was able to receive, as well as one of his other books that he co-authored with Bob Proctor. So talking about amazing giants that was for that lineup. And it was an honor to see our very own C-Rock, one of the guys that moderate with us with the Breakfast with Champions. He definitely did an amazing job. So it was a powerful conference. And we saw our very own, my first time meeting Miss Janet Alvarado right there in Las Vegas. Man, Janet was there alongside with Donna Wilkins. He was able to capture some of the footage there, which was phenomenal. And it was just a great, great weekend, Jeff. And as you said, woo, we don't stop. Oh my God, we don't stop at all. And as we continue on, you know, traveling the world, we're getting ready to continue in Las Vegas. Las Vegas, we have travels that's coming up for this weekend. Then we'll be headed to Atlanta, Georgia for our 5th annual Power to Soar Leadership Conference. From there, we'll be headed to New Orleans for the I Am Ebony launch, as well as Essence Music Festival. And not only that, New York City is coming up for June 1st, where we'll be meeting more than 200 of our phenomenal young girls. So my goodness, Jeff. And this is not even 6 months yet. Not even 6 months into the year.
You know, you put the walk in the talk. When you say keep those bags ready, you absolutely mean it. Now, Renee, I'm not going to tell you where I heard it from, but I got the G2 information that you had some challenges when you got ready to fly with your baggage being overweight. Now, you want to tell us what happened there, Renee?
You're absolutely correct, Jeff. You know why? My bags were too heavy. I had too many books in it. They were too heavy, overweight. It was, yes.
Now, speaking of books, Renee, one of the things that you have fostered and you have encouraged the entire GW3 community, that's to include the youth, the millennials, the baby boomers, the entire community, the men and the women, is to pour into one another. Also, reading. We know that the adult community is reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and we know that the youth community is reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, this morning in BWC, what touched me is that one of our very own GW3 women shared about her teenage son and how he was getting bad grades and didn't have a positive attitude on life. And she was able, because of you, she was able to get him to read the Rich Dad Poor Dad, and how he calls you auntie. And so, Renee, I want to know, how does it feel? Because as a pastor, the ancient uh, text that we call the Bible suggests that some plant, some water, but only God gives the increase. And I like to teach that it's not often that after we've planted or watered, whichever one that is, that we actually get to see the harvest. And so, how do you feel after hearing that this morning? Not only the excitement from the mother, but the excitement of a child who otherwise, if he had not met Auntie Renee, may still be on the wrong side of the ladder. How does it make you feel, Renee?
It made me so I would say this. It gave me chills, Jeff. It truly gave me chills. I've had the opportunity of meeting right from the app Malika Starr. And Malika Starr was originally in the DMV area. And by the grace of God, she found her way right in here where we are in Atlanta. And my goodness, Malika Starr and her beautiful children, I absolutely adore and love them. Not only have we been able to have this bond, yes, those are my niece and my nephew right now. But you know what? I've challenged them, because I know a lot of the kids, they're just constantly looking at games. They're constantly watching television. So one of the things that we have been able to empower with these young men, they're going to be not only attending the Steve Harvey's Young Men's program, but they also are now going to be reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. And with that, I wish, Jeff, when we were younger, that we had the opportunities to read such books as Rich Dad Poor Dad. Even with Think and Grow Rich, those books probably were accessible, but we didn't know anything about it. So now that we're in a season of not only making sure that we are readers, what they say about leaders are readers, but
Leaders are
we're making
readers.
sure we're reading the right books. So therefore, it can help us to propel our lives to a whole new trajectory. And that's one of the greatest things that now I'm looking at my nephew, Miss Malika Starr's young Makai, do such a wonderful job. Oh my goodness. And they look so forward to seeing me every chance they get. And I look forward to seeing them as well. So it really makes me so proud to see that we're making those type of impacts in the young men's lives as well.
Absolutely. And it's good to give Makai a holler out. And I was able to meet them there in Atlanta. And I was very impressed with both he and his sister. And as I don't know if you know, but on my IG, you find that I was a photographer. I went to school in college for photography. And he had the camera and he was taking pictures. And so he's a young photographer. He was very mannerable. And I want to say salute to you for making a difference. A lot of people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And I say, when you're able to see the harvest, the fruit of your labor, I know it has to be a good feeling, because it was a good feeling for me as well, Renee. And so you said with the Steve Harvey camp that's coming up for the young men, you want to tell us our viewers a little bit about that, because this is not the first year that you've been instrumental, the GW3, in fostering or putting children, young men with Steve Harvey, a chance of a lifetime, something that will absolutely change their lives. Tell us about that, Renee.
Absolutely. One of the greatest things, we've been able to work alongside Future Seekers, was one of the other organizations that myself and now also Janae have been able to work with these youth. We are helping, we've helped over 100 of these students throughout the years. And with that particular organization, it's great to see how they have also at one point, Jeff, I literally was helping the mother, and now I'm helping her son. That's how long it has been. 12 years have gone by. And not only am I able to pour into to the children's now. My daughter is right there supporting and also being able to pour back into the youth. And it has been not only an impactful moment, it has been a very rich moment. Now, with Steve and Marjorie Harvey Foundation, grateful that the Global Women Wealth Warriors was honored, and recognized by them in 2019 as one of the organizations that give back to the community. So now this is the opportunity for us to help and pay it forward for our young teens, our GW3 teens. And I'm looking so forward to not only Malika's son being a part of the program, also Linnell Burns' son. He too will have the opportunity, Mr. Donovan. And we have one other young man that's going to be participating. So I'm so proud to give our men the opportunity to have other role models, because I'll say it, these are single mothers, and they don't have father figures currently in their homes. So this really gives them someone else to look to. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity that Steve Harvey is doing alongside with all of the men that's also supporting that foundation, Jeff.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you for Steve and Steve Harvey, and for his foundation, as well as for you, Renee, and your foundation and what you're doing for these young men. Absolutely, it's a opportunity of a lifetime, and I believe that it will change their lives. Now, I know that you were not able to spend Mother's Day with the apple that fell off of your tree. And since she wasn't able to come to you, you were able to go to her. Now, look at that smile.
Yes!
Renee, tell me, how does it feel to be there with the beautiful apple off of your tree, Miss Janae Jazzy Noor?
Oh my goodness. Well, first and foremost, she got me all prepped up for today. I'm so grateful for her, just to see how she's evolved into this young woman that she is today. So proud of her. I'm so proud of her. It's hard to believe though, Jeff, when I'm looking at her face and looking at her, I'm like, wait, you were just a baby. She's like, Mom, I'm going to be 23 this year. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe how time has gone by. But I'm so grateful that not only have Janae been able to stay consistent in being the young lady that she is, I remember even when she was 5 years of age, Jeff, we put her into golf lessons. She went over to Club Med, alongside with some of the Burberry kids, as well as the Prada grandchildren. From there, she decided to, well, Mom, I don't want to play golf. I want to play basketball. I'm like, oh, okay. So mom and daughter had to go a little bit back and forth, but I allowed her to still find her way, and that's one of the things. Even as a mother, we always want sometimes our kids to do what we want them to do, but we have to allow them to do what they want to do. And I'm grateful that Janae have made these decisions. Some of the decisions, Pastor Jeff, it's been hard for Janae. She's literally have had over 4 surgeries, and she's still stand tall today, and she walks with so much confidence. And I'm so proud to see that this young lady here still giving back to the community, still being a strong vessel where it relates to her in college, as well as she's a caring young lady as well. She has 3 dogs, Pastor Jeff. 3, not 2, not 1, but 3 dogs. And just being able to be a caregiver to dogs, you have to have a total different type of character, So I'm just proud to see her continuously evolving as the woman that she is.
Absolutely. And speaking of mothers, Renee, I know we have a special guest for today. This is an exclusive interview to The Voices, the talk show. And so do you want to, I know I'm excited. I really want to tell everybody, but I know it's not my job. I'm just a co-host, so I'm going to stay in my lane. So yes. Renee, tell us who our guest is for today.
Well, Pastor Jeff, I will say, when I first came on to Clubhouse, I joined, I think maybe January 11th, somewhere right around in there. I used to always hear this very unique, distinguished voice. And it was always one of those voices that you just left inside of you because it was like an old soul. When they spoke, you remembered, oh my goodness, who is this person? And it was just such a way of, charismatic way as well. Very classy and always adding value no matter where. Such wisdom from this voice. And that's what we need to probably start calling her the voice, because you're the voice
Yes.
also, but she's definitely the voice. She's one of those OGs. And OG, you can say that for sure because, as I said, she's an old soul. Brielle Rich, everyone have to love this person. Everyone have to be changed by her, especially on this app. I know she probably have over close to 100,000 followers because of what she bring so much value to not only the clubhouse, but also beyond the clubhouse. I've had the opportunity of meeting her as well right there in Miami, Florida. Before we bring this beauty out, oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
I'm excited too, Renee.
I know, right? Let's go to our break with the video, and then we're gonna bring the fabulous, the one and the only, the
Let me do it.
mother.
Let me do it. Let me do it.
Oh, oh
Let
my
me do
God!
it.
I'll let you do it. How about that? We watch this video. Then right afterwards, you welcome the one and the only Miss Brielle Rich.
Thank you.
Yes, coming right back.
Well, I want to let you know, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Pastor Jeff wants to let you know there is a passage in the Bible that says, be careful how you treat people, for you may entertain angels unaware. And I want you to know that this person I'm about to introduce is an angel. She is always pouring into people. As Renee said, she's an OG. That means she's one of the originals on the Clubhouse app. And she has consistently poured into other people. She uplifts other people. She calls other people to action. She's a young, beautiful, intelligent young lady who is successful. But not only that, she has an old soul. So I want to introduce to some and present to others none other than a young lady that I respect, I tell you, monumentously, none other than the beautiful Brielle Rich. Brielle.
Whoa. Hi.
How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here. Yeah, let's get it started. Let's get it started. There is no place I'd rather be. You know, it's so funny. Renee doesn't know this about me, but Renee is my middle name. So I'm super excited. And Pastor Jeff, I never do interviews, but if I'm going to do one, I don't think there is anyone better to do this than the two of you. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so very much, Brielle Renee Reich. And Renee, did you hear that? Her
I
middle
know
name is
it's her
Renee.
middle name. Didn't know that at all. Beautiful. Did not know that at all.
Probably
It brings us, yes. It brings us so much joy to have you here. As we spoke, you're a mother of a beautiful son, as well as, what I love about you, Brielle. You're such a kind hearted spirit woman. You always understand the importance of building relationships. You pretty much have one of the largest community on the Clubhouse app with over 150,000 followers, Beauty. That says a lot about you. You're such an impressive woman. I just want you to know that. So share with us, Brielle, coming from Massachusetts, what is it like? What is all your family members as well as your friends, what would they say about Brielle? We want to know.
It's so funny that you asked that, because maybe not early on, like midway through, and she's still pretty active. One of my college roommates got on the app, and I didn't know. She just hopped on the app, and she hopped in a room that I was in one day, and she just kept showing up. And most of you probably actually know who she is. You just don't know that she was my college roommate. And I asked her one day, I just brought her on stage, and I wasn't sure what she would say, but I just kind of threw it out there, and I asked her, I said, hey, you've known me for a decade. What was I like? You wonder sometimes, were you the same person the whole way through? And she just laughed, and she's like, you've always been like this. And I would say that that's what people would say about me, that I'm pretty consistent. I'm tenacious. I believe undeniably that anyone can be anything that they want to be, right? That imagination and determination and hard work is the key to abundance, and that there's no limit to not only what you can be, but what you can have, right? There's so much abundance in the world, and we're only limited by what we believe in. So when we choose to believe bigger, believe for more, believe that we can, then we actively are able to. And I just believe that I've always been this type of person, but consistently across the board, I believe that everybody would say those things about me. So
yeah. Well, I was so impressed, not only to understand that you love to read. You read almost like, 52 books? Close to 52 books a year, Brielle. And one of the greatest things that we've been able to forge within the community is just increasing those habits of reading. And as it stands right now, Pastor Jeff, as he was sharing, we're reading Think and Grow Rich alongside with, now we have the young people reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. What is one of your favorite books that you've read of all times? And, that's like the book that's just like, oh my God, Renee, I can just read this book anytime. What is one of your favorite books?
You know what? It's so funny because I say it a lot. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a great book, but Think and Grow Rich is a really impactful book. And so whenever I discuss books, I steer people back to that because I think it's a really important book. So not only did I like it, do I enjoy it, but I understand the principles of success that are inside of it. And I know that from a universal standpoint, the tools that you're going to get from that book, every single person, their life will be monumentally impacted if they just apply the principles that are within those pages. It's not necessarily an easy read, and I think that that's where people get discouraged, right? But if you get past chapter 1 into chapter 2, you'll start to see that the application of the book itself is going to change your life. You just have to apply it. My second favorite book would be, I'm really into the 10X community. So I really love Be Obsessed or Be Average. And I love Elena Cardone, Building an Empire.
Absolutely lovely. Yeah. You know, that's actually where I wound up meeting you right there. And those were great. Well, I haven't read the book with Elena Cardone, so that's going to be on our list of books because, you know, we have like so many, but that's definitely going to be one. But I love the fact that you reference Think and Grow Rich. That definitely has to be a pinnacle book for most of us. And I know you've had the opportunity of also meeting one of the ladies who made that book possible, Miss
Yeah.
Sharon Lecter, who
Yes.
always talks about those sexy assets,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, Think and Grow Rich, when we talk about the book, I think something that I discuss a lot when people ask me about the concepts behind it is that Napoleon Hill wasn't permitted originally, if you Google the book, to release the book.
Yeah.
There was a huge hiccup, and I'm sure your community knows this, about the release of it. And so what he did was he was crafty enough to re-release the book after his first attempt was turned down. He was crafty enough to re-release it under a new title, and that's where Think and Grow Rich came from. And so a lot of the book, there is a lot of fluff in the book, and there's a lot of fluff there because he had to be able to put the secrets of the book, the things that are those real life tools and strategies that some of the others maybe didn't want the world to know. He had to be able to place those tools inside of a book that would be allowed to be published. And so if we read it properly, we're able to get tools that were pretty much banned for over a decade, but now they were released to us because he was smart enough to release them inside of other content that was permitted. So it's really impactful.
I love that. You know, one of the things I realized as a community in reading the book, that allows you to get other people's perspective of what they've read, because, you know, if someone's always going to read it, then they're going to always take their own perception out of what they've actually read. And as we read it as a community, and, you know, we have the open mic where everybody pour into what they gather from that chapter. Like you said, it's really great to see not only if you're able to take this book step by step, but the application of taking it to a whole will allow you to take it to a whole different level. And right now we're in chapter 6 of reading it twice now with the
Yeah.
GW3 Club. And oh my God.
Yeah,
I've seen-
decision, right?
Yeah, oh my
Decision
God.
and imagination, somewhere right there.
It's such a powerful book. Since January, we've had like our 90-day challenge. And as it stands right now, we have women now allowing themselves to just truly be engulfed. They're becoming stronger, more confident, and now they're not fighting with that fear anymore.
Yeah.
This book has truly been transformational. It really has. So I'm glad that you shared that as well. You know,
Yeah.
being a mother, how much of a joy is that? What was your Mother's Day like, Brielle? We'd love to know. What was your Mother's Day like?
It was amazing. It was amazing. You know, my son, he's finally at an age where he understands holidays. He's 6. So he took a lot of pride and joy in picking out a card. He hid it from me at the store and scanned it at checkout, stuck it in the bag. I wouldn't let me see it, put it in the envelope, woke up, made me breakfast. Like he took a lot of pride in making the day something that he curated. Like he created a schedule and a calendar. And we're really within my household. We are pretty structured just by nature. I believe in structure. I believe in discipline, but I understand that if you fail to plan, right, then you're failing, right? If you fail to plan, then you're failing. And it's not even you're planning to fail, right? I know that the quote is, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. But if you fail to plan, you're failing, right? You are, because you have not set a target, and you cannot hit a target. I say this all the time. You cannot hit a target that you did not create. It's impossible, right? And so I utilize those tools a lot in my parenting. My child's on a regimen. We have, again, 10X community. We have the 10X kids book, and we read it every single night. He sets 10X goals. The way that we set those goals is we have targets, then we have big goals, and we have successes, right? So how did you succeed every day? And then we break up our day into hourly chunks, right? In 3-hour quadrants of what are you going to accomplish? What are you going to learn during these quadrants of time? What is the quote of the day? Like it is regimented, it is structured, but when I look at what I believe it takes to be absolutely phenomenal, the Bible talks about train up a child in the way he should grow. And when he gets old, he doesn't depart from that. And so when I understand those principles, I understand that even in his teens, if he sways, in his 20s, if he decides he doesn't want to set goals, if I place these tools inside of him now, reading the right books, understanding who to follow, who to not follow, what type of regimen to put him on from a learning perspective, not just academics in school, but a real life learning perspective, then he'll get back to it, even if he strays for a while.
I absolutely love it. Now, how old is he again?
He's 6.
6, my goodness. So I cannot wait to hear this young man, Pastor Jeff, when he becomes 21. All right, he's probably going to be the president by then. Okay, especially with mother of Miss Brielle right there coaching him along the way. You know, one of the greatest things Pastor Jeff said, not only do we admire you, your worth ethics and your regimen and consistency is by far none. I haven't seen anyone that can get up at 3 a.m. in the morning with us with the Breakfast with Champion. You're full of energy. You're always dropping so much knowledge on us every Saturday morning. And, you know, I'll say this because at one point you had gone away and I'm like, we missed that voice. You have no idea how much value you bring to the app. Thank you, Brielle. Thank you for everything that you do.
Well, I appreciate that. It means a lot. I love it. I love Clubhouse. It's changed my life in a way where to have a community of 150,000 people, it changes your sense of accountability. And so when we talk about consistency, it gives you something larger to be a part of and something bigger to do it for. And so I am not unaware that the tools, the strategies, the guidance, the rules that I live by are not accessible to everyone without someone teaching them, right? I understand that everything that I know came from books or mentors or people, and I was only presented those books, mentors, and people through other resources that everyone might not have access to. So being very, very aware that I was privileged enough to gain the access, the insight, and the information, it becomes my obligation, truly my duty, to not just succeed, but to pour into other people and give them at least access, right? I believe that it is our duty when we get access to keep the door open and give someone else access. I can't push you through. I can't make you read the book. I'm not going to, right? That's not my person. I'm just not going to. I'm probably not going to expend the extra energy forcing you to do anything because I'm already running at my own speed, but I will always invite you to run with me. I'll give you the blueprint that I'm running at, and then we can run together. Because again, there's an abundance, right? Me running doesn't stop you from running. You running doesn't stop me from running. And so I'm excited to give people access to something that by nature I wasn't given growing up. And I know that when someone gave me access, it changed my life.
Love that.
You know, Renee, one of the things that I am absolutely intrigued with about Brielle is the fact that I believe her mind operates like a forensic expert. I mean, she gets down into the areas that most people would never even think of. I mean, even with what she talked about with the Think and Grow Rich book of there's secrets in it. And, you know, it's like, can you find it? You're on this treasure hunt. And if you can get through the treasure hunt, get rid of all the other stuff, just find the treasure. You know, who else but Brielle would come up with an analogy like that? And then her work ethic to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she's not getting up at 3. She's up to come in to Breakfast with Champions every Saturday with, I mean, energy like a meteorite.
Yeah.
And she comes in, and she doesn't come in like anybody else. Brielle comes in and she pushes people out of their comfort zone. She calls them to action. Every Saturday, we have to unmic and speak. Today, she had a break. She gave us only 15 seconds, but I think that was a long 15 seconds. But normally, we have to do 30 seconds to 60 seconds of pouring into ourselves. We have to do our own affirmations, and she doesn't give us a break. You think she's going to give us a break on one Saturday? Nope. Brielle don't give you a break. You're going to unmute the mic, and you're going to speak into yourself, because she understands the importance that life and death are in the tongue. And what she's doing, for those who don't know Renee, is she's causing them to speak life into themselves at least once a week. But she does that in every room that she's in. I noticed that as an OG, all the way back when she was on the stages with thousands and thousands of people. What she always did was to pour into other people, and not just, fluffy stuff. Brielle asked you, okay, that's fine, but what's your action steps? What are you going to do this week? What are you going to do today? She does not let you get off the hook without telling her what action. And that's one of the things that I absolutely adore and admire her for, is that being a person who has success, being a person who understands public relations, being an activist, being a philanthropist, being a person who calls others to action. The one thing that you rarely hear Brielle do is to sell herself on Clubhouse. Very, very rarely. I heard her say something about sales for the first time this week, and all the time that she's been on Clubhouse, because her focus, Renee, has always been on uplifting, giving a voice to people like Pastor Jeff. In rooms that I wouldn't have been able to speak on. She gave me voice. Brielle's the first person to ever invite me on to IG.
Wow.
That's Brielle, Renee.
She's one of those ladies that's truly, as you said, unselfish. She knows how to pour into others. And, this is really giving me, not only this opportunity for us to pour into her, this is her exclusive opportunity to let you know, Brielle, how much you truly mean to us. We see you. And not only have we seen you, we continue to see how you pave the way for others. You're all about community. You show people the importance of how to work together, how to not only connect, but truly collaborate. And like what Pastor Jeff said, you pull so much inner strength out of each person. You make them dig deeper into their thoughts. You make them think stronger. And that says a lot about your character, Brielle. And that's something you should always know. We see that in you, and we appreciate those gifts that you have. Brielle.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I appreciate that. I just really do believe, if there's anything that I can leave with everyone, is that everything is possible. And the only reason I truly believe, I think that a lot of times in life we create excuses, or we don't know what the excuses are, right? We're not sure why we're not taking action. And so what I want you to know is the reason you're not taking action is because you don't have the adequate steps. That's it. You don't have the adequate steps. It's not, I don't know how. It's not, I'm lazy. It's not, I'm unsure. It's not that you're unfocused. All of those aren't real excuses. Those are ideas that someone painted on you or someone gave you. You don't actually have the right steps, because if you had the right steps, you would take action. So what's happening is, for where you're at right now, you don't have the next step. Because if you had the next step, if you had the next step, you would take action. And a lot of times people are like, well, I do know the step, I just don't know how to get there. Then you don't have the step, right? If you don't know how to get there, then you don't have the right step. And you have to figure out who has the right step for you? Who are you following? Who are you listening to? Where is that step? Because you're missing something. It's not that you don't want to take the step or that you have brain fog or that you're confused. It's that you don't know how, because we are all children of God. We are all extremely intelligent individuals. There's a quote, right, that says, if you condemn a fish for, not flying, I don't know the quote, but basically, you can't condemn a fish for not flying because he's in water or something like that. But the idea is that wherever you're at right now, it's a step away. You have to figure out what the actual step is. And so if you're frustrated, if you're confused, let go of all of that and find the person, the book, the thing that has your next step. That should be your commitment to self, not to take these steps that you can't figure out. Find the step, and then you'll be able to take it properly. I hope that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yes, it does. And as you said, we are totally responsible for our own actions. We're responsible for our own activities, as well as we're responsible for our own success. And that is something that's so true. What I love about the fact that we come together every Saturday morning, all of us come together every Saturday morning. We show up for the community, and they look forward to not only hearing the voices, but also understanding, okay, now what am I supposed to do? But like you said, now that we've laid out we laid out the steps, we've laid out the action steps for you. Now it's time for you to do what? To act, to act and to be intentional. And that's one of the greatest things I see with you, Brielle. You're very intentional. What does community truly means to you?
That's a great question. For me, when I think about community, I believe that community is collaboration, right? Community is collaboration. Every single person is involved. That's what community means. You being a part of a community means that you are taking action to show up as a representative of that community. If you say that you belong to something, then you have to act the part. When we think about Breakfast with Champions, the call to action is that you show up as a champion, that you figure out how to be a champion, that you come together as a champion. When you look at Renee's community, right, your call to action is to live the lifestyle that she's curating for you, that she's showing you how to live, right? And so when you're active in any community or you decide you want to be a part of it, know that you're taking on the character traits of that community, you are following the leadership of that community, and you're actively contributing to making that community better. And therefore, that community is doing the same thing to you, right? They're pouring into you, you're pouring into them, and then everybody grows together. That's what community is to me.
I absolutely love that response. You have worked in so many different facets of your life. And when I look at you, you're like, oh my God, she has to be, just hearing her voice, Pastor Jeff, you would think she's like somewhere 50, 60, as I said, that old soul.
Absolutely.
But she's every bit of 25. I'm sorry, Brielle. Every bit of 25. And it's just a joy to learn from you. And that's one of the greatest things. We can't ever stop learning from each other. That's a part of us being able to really enjoy the process of who we are as we are constantly becoming our better versions of ourselves. When I look at your community and how you built over 150 strong leaders, I always say leaders are going to follow other leaders, and you have cultivated such strong leaders in that space. And then to meet you from one strong community from Breakfast with Champions, and then to go find you in Miami with another strong community with the 10X women. Oh my God, the 10X ladies. I was like, Brielle, I just wanted to hold you and didn't want to let you go. You're such a dynamic woman. What does it mean to have such relationships, not only with the Breakfast with Champions, but also with the 10X ladies with Elena Cardone?
Yeah. Elena Cardone is a phenomenal human. I aspire to be more and more like the people that I'm around and the people that mentor me. And I believe that all of us should have those aspirations. We become like the 5 people we spend the most time with. So we have to be intentional about cultivating relationships that we want to be like, even if there are peers, right? For me, when I look at community, Breakfast with Champions, 10X Ladies, my own community, How to Get Rich, it's very, very important that we take the mentorship, the books that we're leading, the books that we're reading, the people that are leading us, and we grow through those spaces. And so one of the books that I mentioned, like I said, How to Build an Empire by Elena Cardone, that book has been monumental in my life. And so I go back into my community now of How to Get Rich, and I say, okay, kind of exactly what you're doing with your community, Renee. And here are the tools. Here are the tools that I believe made me a better human, right? And now I want to give you access to those tools. And it's the same thing. I'm really active in a lot of places. I go at least once a month. I go to a different conference. I try to get around different people, because without me always getting information as a leader, it becomes stagnant for me to truly be a good teacher, right? And so I understand that in order for me to absolutely be able to pour in every single day, and that's how the community works. My How to Get Rich community, we have daily text messages. So it's action steps every single day. And so you're getting an action step every single day, and they're meaty action steps, but I can't give you those action steps, those tools, without going and getting more information every single day, without having really good mentorships, without having conversations with you, Renee, or Pastor Jeff. Both of you have taught me so much on so many levels. And without those conversations in this, this trio, this community, I would not be a proper fountain to be able to expel information every single day at a high quality.
Riel, I want to ask you this question.
Yeah.
At the tender young age that you are, how did you take on this responsibility? And I say that because you've had consistency, and it shows that you take it personal for the growth of those that you pour into, regardless to what community is. It goes from whatever club on Clubhouse it is, you show up the same way. And you call to action in each one, and you can hear it in your voice. You can feel the vibrations from wherever you're transmitting it from. And so I'd like to know, where did you get that sense of responsibility at your age?
That's good. As a child, this sounds strange, I don't think anyone's ever asked me this question. As a kid, I always thought I would be a movie surfer. I know this is a random Disney plug, but it's the person that, it doesn't exist anymore, but a long time ago, there were these things on Disney Channel called movie surfers, and they would introduce shows or people. And I had this idea that I would, that people would know me, and I had to live my life accordingly because I believed that I would be an example. And so I've always kind of had this thing where, I was like, somewhere along the way, I'm going to be attached to the president, a president. I've had this idea mentally that my life would be an example, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? There's a lot of things that have happened in my life that haven't been beautiful or amazing, but I haven't shied away from them. I didn't drink them away. I didn't get out of I never suppressed the feelings or the situation, because I understood that whatever reason I'm going through this, it's going to heal someone. And as strange as that sounds, I allowed all of these things to happen and to grow through them, because I just understand that the only way I've grown or known anything about life was through other people's lives. I didn't have adequate mentors, I would say, growing up, or things of that nature. I lived through other people's experiences. And so when I grasped that, I realized other people are probably going to live through my experiences as well. And so I chose to live my experiences out loud and to live them in a way where I'm going to be okay, right? I'm going to get through this and I'm going to be okay. And you're going to be okay too, because I got through this. And I can tell you, since I've already been there, that this is going to be all right. And I've just really always had that stance and that belief system. And I really think that, I don't remember when that shifted for me, but around like 14, 15, I started listening to Wayne Dyer. We had a TV and it went, I don't know if it maybe aged myself, but it didn't have a remote.
No remote.
Yeah, like a clicky thing, right? And then we had like one of those wires where you had to like
rabbit ears.
Yeah, that thing, right? And so late night TV on PBS, there was this guy, Wayne Dyer, and he would have these big infomercial things where he's like talking about stuff. And I was like, I don't really understand this, but it sounds important. So I'm just going to have it on in the background all the time. And then Tony Robbins would come on. And I was like, I don't really get this, but I'm going to pop in a VHS tape and try to record it and play it back, because I don't get it. But there's something about this that sounds really important. And I've never heard this before. And so I started to listen to these people tell me that there's something else, that there's something different, that there's something more for me, and that I could be intentional, with the way that I built my life. And that was really different than anything I'd ever heard. And so then I got my hands on this book. It was called The 4 Agreements. And I read it, and it talked about, being accountable, right? Being aware and understanding that it is about me, but it's not really about me, right? That I never need to make assumptions, that it's okay when other people do certain things, because that's their own reflection of their own life. And all of these processes and concepts started coming together. And one day I decided to read the Bible front to back. Like, okay, I'm going to read all 52 books. I don't get it, but let me do this, right? So I read the Bible, all 52 books, and I went to go visit my grandpa. And he was like, hey, I got this book that I've been reading. It's really interesting. It's called The Secret. I was like, okay, sure. And I'd never heard of it. So my grandpa, he's like 80, 85, talks to everybody. And he hands me this book. And now it was about a week after I finished the Bible. I opened up this book that my grandpa told me to read. I was like, hey, Grandpa, I know you might not know this, because I know that you're Buddhist, you do some other things, but these are biblical principles. Now, the thing is, let me explain. I would not have known that if I hadn't got done reading the Bible, right? And so I don't press beliefs on anybody. But what I did do is I read the Bible, and then I read The Secret. And what I realized was there's a lot of similarities. And when I realized that the principles that are in The Secret, because I had just read the Bible, I could literally find this and say, whoa, this is a Bible verse, Galatians, right? And I thought, wow, that's really interesting how all of these things seem to tie together. And I just became obsessed. I became obsessed with the way that the universe worked. I became obsessed with the way that the brain works. I became obsessed with the idea that maybe it's not woo-woo. Maybe it's science, maybe it's neuroscience, maybe it's the brain, maybe it's biblical, that we really can create everything we want in our life. And I just decided from there on that what other people are trying to tell me is a little far out, not possible, or maybe like spooky. Maybe there's some science behind it. And so I threw away the spooky stuff, the woo-woo stuff, got straight to the science and figured out how it worked. And now I understand, and maybe not all of it, but I have a really clear understanding of how it works. And I believe that that's what I try to teach other people, that this is possible and there's a science behind it.
my generation would say that's the wisdom of an old soul. Now, we are thoroughly enjoying this, but our time is coming close. And so I want to ask you a final question from Pastor Jeff, and then we'll let Renee ask you her final question as she closes out her TV show, The Voices. You know, the creator, the man himself, Mr. Glenn Lundy, when he does an interview, he puts a person on top of a mountain. I'm not going to ask you the same thing you asked Bria. I want the graduated. You've gone through the greatest commencement that anyone could ever go through. You have about to transition from life temporal to life everlasting. And there, the accomplished, it's well done, Brielle Renee Reese is looking back at the young Brielle Renee Reese today. What affirmations does she tell you?
Wow, that's good. I would say to myself, the world is better. The world is better because you were there, and that you succeeded in making sure that you left everyone you interacted with better than they were before they came across you. I would also add in, because my end goal is to make sure that I leave a legacy for my son and for all of the young people who come after me. That's my goal. And I believe that although I'm here for us, I would tell myself that I succeeded in raising up a generation of leaders who undeniably were able to impact the world at an even greater level than you were, because they got the information at a younger age than you got it.
Now, I don't know if you recognized it or not, but you begin to transmit on a different frequency level then. And I want you to know that it absolutely gave me goosebumps. And I love you. Over to you, Renee.
And you know what? I absolutely even see those leaders in the future. I already see it because she's going to do it, Pastor Jeff. She's such a visionary. And as she shares that inner strength and how she just totally that visualization, I saw her speaking about it in color. I saw the sea of all those beautiful leaders and our mighty Brielle just handing out as she's handing out the roses to each and every last one of those future leaders. You know, Brielle, we see you as such, on top of the world, and how you constantly keep pulling everyone up with you really says so much volume about you. As you continue on with your journey, please share with us, where is your next journey? Where will it take you next? What do we have? What is your forecast just within the next 6 months? We just finished doing our review of our vision boards with the team. And because we're not in that 6 month yet, I needed every last person to be sure of that they're going to not only hit their goals, but they probably will surpass their goals. That's why we always have to inspect what we expect. And so with the team, they are already so fired up. They're so motivated. They're already looking for 2023 as we'll be taking our journey into Dubai. But with you, young lady, what does your next 6 months forecast look like?
So within the next 6 months, I am launching my podcast. I'm launching my podcast. I have it built and it's coming out soon. And I'm taking my texts to another level. That's really important to me at this point, to be in the pocket of everyone across the nation, to be able to give them tools from everyone, from Pastor Jeff, from you. Like, our tools should be in everyone's phones across the nation every single day. We should, as a community, be able to actively say that we have the strategies to live the life that we want, that we choose, that we build. And so I really believe that within the next 6 months, I'm going to be able to impact people. I am impacting people at a whole nother level, because it's going from just a voice on Clubhouse to action steps that will last forever, because a text message doesn't get deleted. So a plug and play system where they have access to the same information that all of us have access to every single day.
Wow.
I see that happening. Yes. Well, we are so proud with the GW3 family. Not only we're looking forward to honoring you in August as one of the most influential women. Oh my goodness. And you know what, Pastor Jeff, if you haven't had the chance to meet this beauty, you're not going to want to let her go, because something about her energy, her aura, she walks into the room, you can feel her energy. Mm-hmm. Just like how you feel it through the Clubhouse, you can feel it also in the space. It's like when I met Oprah Winfrey, you're like that Oprah Winfrey, Brielle. It's like the room shifted, and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And next thing you know, you hear, hello, it's Oprah Winfrey. I'm like, oh my goodness. That's how
it's Brielle Reed.
Exactly.
I appreciate you both. I feel the same way, right? I feel the same way. I believe abundantly, right? I believe abundantly that nothing happens by happenstance, that when God creates a leader, he allows a leader to really understand that they have to be empowered by other leaders, right? We can't rise individually. Right. And so that's why when you look out at the Oprahs, right, there are others that came and rose at the exact same time, and they're in different niches, but they're still just as large. We notice Oprah because that's her space, but there's others that came at the same time. There's others that came at the same time with the same tenacity. And I believe that as I rise, right, we are going to see and continue to see, right, Miss Renee Noor, we're going to see Pastor Jeff, like, we're coming up together, right? And it's not just the three of us, right? There's others, and they're going to rise with us. And as we look across, right, even now, we're all in different places in the country. As we look across the globe, we're going to know 10 years from now, we're going to be able to head nod and be like, yeah, remember when we started, where we came from, where we were 10 years ago. I know that we're out of time, but just a reference, when you look at like the Marie Forleos or the Gabrielle Bernsteins and the Lewis Howes, they all started in 2012. They all were on the exact same platform at the exact same time. And now you see them. You look at Tony Robbins, when you look at Les Brown, when you look at Tony Robbins, when we look at all of these that I've mentioned, they started at the exact same time, and you saw the rise, right? And so we will all rise together. And my call to everyone who's listening to this is join the community, join GW3, right? Like, when you look at GW3, you understand that this is a community that is rising together. So you have no choice. If you want to be great, you have to surround yourself with great leaders, right? And I'm so happy to be here. I loved this time with you. Thank you so much for it. And I am just unbelievably grateful and also aware that we're going together, guys. Let's go.
Don't forget the How to Get Rich community.
Yes, definitely. The How to Get Rich community. I mean, for anybody who's listening, this is my community. Although I haven't mentioned all of you, I would not be who I am without the How to Get Rich community. I want to shout out specifically Draymond Jones, who had the idea, had the concept of How to Get Rich. it was really his idea. We were sitting there one day and he was like, hey, and sometimes on a journey, people decide they don't want to necessarily be a part of the journey anymore. And, we run with it. But I can't even take credit for the inception of the concept because it did come from someone else. I just continued, I endured the path, but the entire community itself, Dre and I, we owe everything that we are, essentially, right, to you, because we would not have anything to wake up to every single day and every single morning and text messages to send, like all of that. The commitment that we have, it's because we have people to commit to. So I honor How to Get Rich. I honor Breakfast with Champions and Pastor Jeff and Renee Noor. I honor you both as well. Thank you.
Such wisdom.
Absolutely. I couldn't say it any better than that. Brielle Reese has not only been an honorable opportunity for us to get to know you better, but it has truly been such a joy. God always say things happen exactly the way they need to happen. Exactly. And I'm so grateful that they have happened this way. You're a woman that always know how to elevate so many others. You're a woman that always put others first. Beautiful. We love you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to have this exclusive interview with you. Again, please let everyone know how to get in contact with you.
Yeah, definitely you can go to briellereach.com, hit the subscribe button. Once you subscribe to the community, you'll have access to whatever you want to be a part of, whether it's How to Get Rich, the Clubhouse Room, every other community that I'm involved in, you'll have access to as well. It all just starts from a subscription, an opt-in into my newsletter that will give you access to everything else. So thank you for having me. I, again, honor the space, and I'm just excited. I'm excited to now be a part of your community because I see the work that you're doing, right? I see it, and that's what community, like I said, is all about, is being able to see the actions, not just the words. And so, Renee, I just honor everything that you're putting forth into the globe, not just our countries, not just our state, but globally. You're making an impact. And the type of people that make global impacts are the type of people that will be remembered for generations to come. So I honor you and I thank you for making memories for our legacies and our culture.
Brielle, not only am I honored to have you as a friend, but if you don't already have it, you can consider me your newest spiritual father.
Oh, we gotta do hugs. Come on, everybody, hug. I know. Oh, Brielle. Well, guys, this has been such just a special interview with the queen herself, the original OG from Clubhouse. And as she continues on with her wisdom, blazing the universe with her energy, her grace, oh my goodness, as well as that gift that she has, that voice, that Brielle Reach voice. We're so honored to have you here on The Voices, the talk show. This has been such an amazing opportunity of getting to know you better. And we are looking forward to seeing you in those Clubhouse streets, girl.
Absolutely.
Yes, we are. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's Voices. We look forward to seeing you next Monday. I'm Renee Noor, the founder of the Global Women Wealth Warriors, and this is the man himself, Pastor Jeff. We're going to be signing out this evening, and we look forward to seeing you. Thank you again.
Thank you.